You're listening to Puma Podcast.
Welcome to She Talks Peace, where powerful peace builders, especially women, share stories that spark real change. Hosted by Amina Rasul Bernardo, President of the Philippine Center for Islam and Democracy, this podcast brings voices from Southeast Asia to the Middle East, Africa, and beyond, exploring conflict, climate, education, equality, and peace through lived experience. Whether you are commuting or cooking, join us in learning from the courageous women and men working on the front lines of peace. Because when we talk peace, the world listens. Listen to She Talks Peace on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Manila, Amporn. How are you?
Thank you. I'm very well. Thank you for inviting me coming here again.
Yeah. So, what was it like mingling with all of these religious leaders and civil society leaders, women activists during the 7th International Forum on Religion and Law?
It's amazing. You bring so many people coming in talking about women, peace, and security, allied with religion, which is very core concept on how we live together.
Yeah. You know, I was just telling you earlier that it's really good that you are an academic, but you are also a practitioner. So you know the lived reality of the community, but you're able to step back and analyze the whole situation. So what's it like now, Amporn? What's going on in Thailand? Are you happy with the progress? Are there gaps that have to be addressed?
Yeah, thank you for asking these tough questions. But it's nice to observe as well.
Yeah.
I'm a bit away from the process
Yes.
of drafting NAP. I know that so many friends, colleagues who are working and put a lot in terms of when we are going to have National Action Plan on Women, Peace and Security, which is the ideas that we would like to have it since 2021. But now 2025, we delay for long, and we were questioned by different neighboring countries.
Yes.
Yeah, especially from those who already have the second, the third versions. And we realized that this is not common because we need the mechanism to support not only women, but also citizens, friends, folks as a whole, to understand this is not about women issue, but it is the human security, how we live together, how we support those who are marginalized, and how the government should be able to protect their own people. So we would like the young generation to see this is not a way that we can wait. So we work hard as well from different angles. Now I move a bit to the issues of marginalized group, especially the stateless people who are living at the borderlands. But at the same time, I'm still working side by side with friends, including the community in Patani region. So in Patani, we're still waiting for the new team of peace negotiation, and we would like to see the issues of women, peace, security will be there, will be added in. It doesn't mean add as an extra issue, but ally with all those the process as the substance of dialogue, including how people see the issues of security and concern about people on the ground, which thing is more highlighted is that gender-based violence, because when the conflict taken place for long, people focus on when we have ceasefire, when the agreement would be succeed, and then the voices of the marginalized people, especially women, youth, and people who fight for their own rights, including those are the fighter, who were neglected and also were blamed by the country, including the nations. Of course, we need the platform for them as well to talk, to open up, to reveal what they want to. Once they reveal, we have to protect their safetyness as well. So this is the issue that I follow up.
You know what, Amporn? I think people don't hear too much about what's happening now in southern Thailand. And you mentioned negotiations, that you're waiting for the new team.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it's been public knowledge that negotiations have actually been encouraged. So tell us more about what's happening. Who's doing the negotiations? Is the international community involved in this? Are they playing friends of the negotiation process? What's happening with the negotiations in Patani?
The negotiation process is not only in Patani right now, also at the Cambodian
border.
Conflict and the debate what we are going to do with the huge number or the mass of migrants from Myanmar, not only people from Myanmar, but also who were in the scam proceed. I mean, the whole process of scamming. So we look on that as well. But when we focus on how to rise up the issues of women, gender-based violence, including the peace process, negotiation is also focused on that, on that region, in that region. Within that region, of course, the government take care for the whole process by including the opposite parties, especially the representative from BRN. And the BRN also, they have
what is
alliance,
the BRN?
The fighter, the opposite, what we call the opposite side, the opposite team, or the separatist movement that run for long in terms of how to fight for their own land, especially when they say that this is the legacy from their own ancestor. They would like to make it as a real by proposing the ideas of self-determination, which is the minimum of the ideas how to govern their own land.
Amporn, you talk about fighting, the opposition fighting for their land. So are you saying that the issue here is not so much faith, not so much religion, but it's all about land and sovereignty?
Politics, that's
it's
right.
Politics?
Yeah, it is more on politics. Just because people who are the majority of the population is a Malay Muslim, so the issues involved a lot. I mean, the issue of religion, ethnicity is involved. And it brings different other ideas, problems in the region. For example, the segregation between Muslim and non-Muslims. The ideas how religion will use and utilize as the medium of battle, communicate among the groups, different groups. So that's the issues as well. So we need a dialogue between Muslim, non-Muslims, between the Malays and non-Malays, and how we cooperate, how we coexist. So that's one thing. Yeah.
And what role have the religious leaders played in trying to mediate between local conflicts between the two religious groups?
Okay. Yeah, not only between Buddhists and Muslims, but also there are so many religious leaders involved by invitation as well as by their own heart. They want to see the issues eradicated. I mean, the problems of conflict more solved, find a solution from the perspective of religious ideology, whether certain creeds, certain ideas, like respect each other, how to live side by side, even though you have different faith systems. So the religious leaders who involve already in the process of peace and dialogue ones, they try to bring the core concept of their own faith up on the table and share what is our prophets, our leaders discuss. did in the former time. So we have to bring those kind of issues, values to discuss. This is very core ideas of us to mobilize or to navigate rather, to navigate our future social life. So this is very important platform that not only the religious leaders by themselves discuss, but they also invite different other stakeholders to be in that same platform, like security force, CSOs, the government sectors, to listen. And they see this is another what we call layers, key and platforms that we can talk about. And it's a bit, bridging at least. They know what are you thinking about. They also criticize because some certain knowledge, including the principle, were hijacked and used as the medium of fighting. So that's the crucial point.
Religion becoming both flag for extremists and a venue for moderation. It's strange that faith can play opposite roles. And I wanted to ask you, because I remember, I think you and I were in a conference once where there were women from the different faiths who were part of the religious organization. There were, I remember there were Buddhist nuns, there were Muslim ustajas, alimas, and there were Christian nuns. And one of the things that they were saying was that within the religious structure of their own faith, women also need to be heard and to be part of the decision making, whether it's Buddhism or Christianity or Islam. This is something that women need to do. And then in the international forum, I think one of the elders from the Mormon church, right, mentioned the fact that women of faith have become major supporters of peace. Their majority, he said, of the advocates for peace are really women. Those who work on humanitarian work are women. So they need to become more of a force. How would you do that, Amporn? Because in Thailand, you mingle with Buddhist nuns and our ustadjas, and I suppose you also mingle with the Christian nuns. So how would you empower the women within their own faith structure so that they are more participating?
Yeah, that's right. It is observable that different religious representatives join in the same forum, sharing the legacy of the knowledge and experience in the community. So as a student in comparative religion, it's easy to see the dialogue is there. The dialogue, in fact, is. And it's not only me do that. There are so many friends, groups, organizations bring different people from different faiths to discuss and share. As you mentioned that they work in the humanitarian aid area, including psychosocial supports, rehabilitations. I think WPS pillars already cover work for longer than 25 years that we are celebrating at the moment. I think the action proves a lot. Prove how they're serious. They make it serious.
But are the women succeeding within the hierarchy to be better heard or better seen?
It's difficult.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet.
Thank you for making clear.
Not yet.
Not yet, but they try.
Yeah.
And they were heard. Yeah, people listen to them more.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, because many of them become a governor in Patani province. We have women who take an action, even though she come from other region, as the deputy minister. We have the representative from Muslim community in the south who support Ministry of Education. So this core people bring different perspectives to the community as a whole in Thailand. But on the ground, we know that the relationships between Muslim, non-Muslims, the Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, Sikh, they were friends. Just during the ritual, they separate into their own house, their own, house for worship. But at the same time, when they would like to mobilize certain issues, for example, 6 years ago, we discussed a lot on gender-based violence, which is neglected during the conflict, when people would like to draft how the peace should be. And then they mentioned this is the mandate of the government, that they work along, and they found out religion can be either bring peace or bring war. So this is very crucial element when the government realized this is very important. And next week, we are going to celebrate. Doesn't mean celebrate in the sense of we already achieved, but in the sense of we have to remind 25th of November. This is the day that we have to emphasize on stop violence against women.
Yes.
They're going to work, by bringing different stakeholders to discuss. And I see there are different numbers of women on in the south, in southern Thailand, on the ground, coming back to Bangkok, and bring the message from their own community to amplify more their voices by saying that women are not just keep silence, they work, and they need to be in the table of peace talk. At least their voice should be there, and the government should support. Apart from the government support, they need to work with us, with CSO.
There was something very interesting and revealing that was discussed during the forum on religion and law. And it was remarkable that it was one of the elders who talked about it. The fact that religious leaders and women leaders, feminists, civil society leaders don't actually communicate well with each other. That there seems to be maybe a distrust of each other's motivations maybe. In Thailand, do you also see this, that the religious leaders are aloof from feminist and civil society? And what can be done to let them have common ground and to dialogue, Amporn?
It's difficult. I think it happens everywhere.
It happens everywhere,
Because different groups grow up in different atmosphere, and they have their own patterns how to navigate their preachings, their knowledge. As the academic, we have certain principle, right? But in certain principle, we also, for example, lecture. But apart from lecture, we have different other style of doing the class, making class. But at the same time, for the religious leaders, of course, they tend to be able to preach. And they know that the young generation feel reluctant to involve in the community, religious community. So the style of the dialogue happens when groups of religious leaders who are familiar with, who work together with the grassroots level, because they also come from grassroots level. They're in the community, in the village, in the kampong. So they have to discuss, they have to listen, and then they bring that thought and methodology back to the ritual. For example, after the prayers, they also open the floor for discussion.
Is that what you do? Is that how you approach the religious leaders, both Muslim and Buddhist?
Many of them were invited to the forums.
Strategy, Amporn?
The strategy is that bring them, even though they have different ideas, school of thoughts. Sometimes they fight. But it's good to see.
To see arguments.
To see the argument. At the end, they also realize it's not only supreme leaders over there. So you have to listen, care about other experiences, value the system, and the way they pay respect. So I think the religious leader also learn the way that we we try to eliminate the fragile, right? Including bring them all together up again. Of course, it's not me myself could work on that, but other friends, communities as well, especially CSO, they're very smart. They invite the leaders to pray in the beginning.
Yes.
And then please remain and listen to the voice of women. They come from your own community. And then they reflect. Sometimes the women do not feel appreciated, but at least the floor is open to dialogue.
Yeah.
And then we invite again, we bring them to the workshops, to Bangkok, to Chiang Mai, and then we invite friends.
Neutral ground.
From Indonesia, from Kuki,
Yes.
from Sister in Islam by that time, now it's this forum, right? To dialogue and bring the method of Mubadala, for example. They buy, they like the idea, but they need to find the solution. I mean, find the ways how to apply in our own context. It's not that easy.
Not that easy.
Yeah, right.
My mother always advised me to follow the Asian way. And the Asian way, correct me if this isn't true in Thailand, but I think it is. Never make the men look bad.
Yeah.
So something about their feeling of importance, don't ever take that away from them.
Yeah.
In other words, the women leaders of Southeast Asia, especially, this is my mother's perspective. They find a more conciliatory way to get the men to listen. So this seems to be an approach that you and other civil society leaders also use in Thailand.
Yeah. We don't make them lose face in public.
Losing face, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we respect them in the sense of course, they are the leaders of the community. The women have more knowledge in Islam, but she keeps silence when the men go up to the stage. But at the backside, I mean, behind the curtain, we
ask.
Yeah, we
ask them questions,
and then we document. As the researcher, we document. As a civil society organization, they also document. And then we bring that kind of revealed from or the interpretation from religious leader who talk with us. Of course, we make it more ethics, but sometimes we don't mention the name when we write it down. Otherwise, he is going to be to be bullied or to be tackled by their own community members. But when the stage of acceptance more, I mean, the acceptance coming from the community more, and then we reveal that this is the statement from that workshop, this dialogue, that interview from this and that religious leaders, or from that core person whom the community respect. So it takes time, more than 10 years.
But you've been seeing positive change because of this particular approach.
That's true.
Non-confrontational.
Yeah, that's true.
More dialogue.
Yeah, it takes time.
So I'm glad that was brought up actually during the forum on religion and law. Because even here in the Philippines, that is very true. Feminist and civil society on one side, religious leaders on the other side, and ways have to be found to make people come down and talk to each other. Now, speaking about talking and negotiating, Malaysia had played a role in mediating, finding a solution to the conflict in southern Thailand, in Patani. How's that coming along? And are there women involved at the negotiating table?
Not yet. But we have representative from the government. She's very smart. She worked with the negotiating team for more than 10 years. She knows the background of the opposite party. She would like to encourage them to speak from their own minds. Of course, they were trained by international organization, talking about international law, which is value as well. When you want to dialogue with the other party, right? You have to know different mechanisms, which I do not blame them. They have to learn. They have to be educated. They have to be able to use that kind of mechanism to put on the table and play in the dialogue ways, not fighting, not armed by arm. So by that chance, we know that the women representative from the government side is there, but we don't have women representative on the table from the side of the opposite party of ERN. So we need to push from the kitchen,
yes,
from the back door. So many CSO hand a report about what they need, what the result from the public forums, what the agreements that women have agreed with religious leaders from different stakeholders. So they hand that kind of report. They bring them, invite the government sectors, including the separatist one from different in different forums, so they know the agenda of women. They say that this is important. Sometimes women realize their agreements, their proposal were used, but at the same time they accept this is be able to use because this is the experience coming from living reality. And then we would like to see at least initial support, initial concern from those parties, government and separatist groups. Yeah.
But at the national level, Amporn, are there more Thai women of all faiths and all ideologies? Are there more who are now participating at the parliamentary level? Do you think it could increase, or there is now really a slide back in terms of political participation?
It's like tango, go back and forth. Yeah, it depends on political instability or stability. It depends on how democratization is there in the terms of previous Thaksin, right? Previous daughter of Thaksin, and now to the new governor. So we see the tendencies of the seriousness, the issues regarding peace dialogue, peace table, peace talk from different team. Of course, during Thaksin era, it's difficult because there are mass killing, two big incident Takbai, as well as in Crozet, and people feel angry and they get ready to fight back, and they were united. And the increasing of the numbers of the fighters there with the support of the community who lose their family members. So for that period of time, about 10 years, people were stuck in the keeping silence, do not reveal themselves, but people from the same community knows to which group that you support. And then it takes a lot of energy, power, including the resource, to bring them back again, at least the table from CSO, from international NGOs that support. It brings the warriorism from the government again, why the community on the ground need to bring international members or alliance to come back in the peace process. Without them, I don't think things would be faster. It should take longer. In that sense, the community on the ground, the NGO, CSO, the academia, security sectors, religious leader coming in one unit. Of course, they don't have the same agreement, but at least they will come into a certain platform to reflect to the government. This is not taboo. This is not such a bad thing to have international organizations
coming in.
Yeah, it doesn't mean we would like to take them and bring it as a case of international conflict. And we know that this is internal conflict. This is the internal issue.
But it would be good to have an outsider's perspective.
Observe, especially from Malaysia. The Thai people, numbers of us, also criticize the role of facilitation
Really?
From Malaysian government. They don't trust. They don't trust because it sounds like the Malaysian facilitators also represent the government. So it would be better if we have facilitator from afar. That's one argument.
Not a neighbor?
Yeah.
Now, that's interesting because in the Philippines, for instance, our trusted facilitators have always been neighbors. So for the Moro National Liberation Front, it was the Indonesian government that provided the facilitator.
Right.
For the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, initially Indonesia, and then it was transferred to the Malaysians. So why do you think there is a distrust here of a neighbor doing the facilitation? Does it have anything to do with the fact that most of or actually the Muslims of Patani are Malay in origin? Does that cause,
There are not only the Malays, both trust and distrust to Malaysian facilitators because they share the legacy, cultures, etc., traditions. But at the same time, they were thinking this is a way, probably there's a door, there's a platform, the government make an agreement with the facilitator, with the facilitator open up. This is more transparency. We support peace process. We do not take any one side. But the Thai people in general do not feel familiar with that kind of, because the Thai is more politicized by the Buddhist value. This is more politics, it's not about religion. And then the Thai citizen feel like it's hard to see the neutral position of Malaysian government. So the Thai in general criticize having Malaysian as facilitator, both in the south and in Cambodia. Thailand-Cambodia conflict.
Having said all of that, are you optimistic that in the medium term, something positive can happen out of the negotiations, particularly in southern Thailand?
I do. I always have hope. And I see so many doers, not only people sitting and talk. They do whatever they could, and they try to find the support net to move forward. And the young generation, they are very smart. They question the process of peace for about 20 years.
And they also help monitor?
They help in the sense of
it's good.
Reflections. They were involved in different civil society platforms. They established their own unit to reflect and think about their future. So I think it's necessary. It's more necessary to listen to young generation.
Yeah. That is so remarkable and quite encouraging. So before we end our conversation, Amporn, perhaps you'd like to give a shout out and encourage the young people or older people like me, encourage them to be more attuned to what's happening in the conflict areas, especially here in our region. What kind of an encouragement, what message would you like to send to them to participate and support peace?
I as well appreciate their works. It's tirelessness. They bring so many values back to discuss, and that kind of values is important because they can share the values of non-discrimination, be patient, respect to other peoples. It's not only focused on the Malay Muslims. You can find the values of respectfulness, sharing, admiring when we meet with the community of Buddhists or the tribal, different other ethnic groups. So I think they should continue. They must continue to talk on the value and bring those kind of value to have more support net. And this can be able to work not only in the south but also in Cambodia when the rising up of nationalists is there. So we have to remind our community by saying that this is very important to bring the core value and you don't have to, you have to release your own ego, stick
Ah.
it.
Oh, that's difficult.
You're right. In a sense, of course, it's like the barrier, like the line between showing your identity, and sometimes it is more egoistic, and then it's kind of reflection to me as well when we were respected by the community, but at the same time we have to admit that we don't know a lot.
We don't know everything.
Yeah. We don't know everything. We don't know so many things.
Yeah.
And that I
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Amporn. So in a few words, listen, right? Be respectful, and reduce your ego.
That's right.
That sounds like a message for men.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Amina,
you,
for summarizing.
Amporn. Thanks, Amporn.
Thank you.
Hello, Ejaz. Welcome to Manila.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Yeah. So, what did you think about the conference that we had on religion and law?
I think this is the first such forum that I got a chance to attend. I got the chance to hear from many scholars different perspective about law and religion and how we can build peace in a nation. I think that was very helpful for me.
Yeah. I thought that it would be very interesting to have Myanmar in this conference on religion and law, because some of the critical issues that you face, especially with the Rohingya, has everything to do with religion versus law. So what is it like now in Myanmar? What is the situation?
I would say if I have to tell about the Rohingya situation, I would say it's still the same or even getting worse because the laws, the discriminatory laws and policies that the military government implemented, it hasn't changed. They haven't changed anything. They are still calling the Rohingya aliens or foreigners, still considering them as stateless, even when they are like communicating with other ASEAN country members as well. They are still denying Rohingya as their citizens, which I would say is very difficult for the Rohingya people, because in terms of movement, in terms of livelihoods, in terms of seeking other kinds of livelihood opportunities, it becomes really difficult because of this policies of like that Rohingya are non-citizens of Myanmar. On the other side, I'd say now I think you are aware, like the northern Rakhine state, where majority of the Rohingya resides, is controlled by the non-state actor ethnic armed groups called Arkan Army. So they have been continuing the same abuses and violations against the Rohingya, which we didn't expect because they were. They consider themselves as
your people.
Yeah, we are neighbors. For example, like Rakhine people are Buddhists, Rohingya Muslims, but they said they are a revolutionary army fighting against the dictatorship. But where they got the control, we didn't expect they would continue this kind of abuses. But unfortunately, they continued the same pattern of abuses, which is affecting the local people still remaining there. As you know, like not many people remaining in Rakhine state. Now in Bangladesh camps, we have like over 1 million Rohingyas who fled since 2017 to 2020. But in at the end of 2024, the Arkan Army got control of both Butidong and Mount townships, where majority of Rohingya reside. Then again, because of such abuses and detaining people on trumped-up charges and putting them like indefinitely in the detention, abusing, torturing there, and according to UN figure, more than 150,000 people fled again to Bangladesh. This is the new wave of people that had to flee. So we can clearly see the abuses continuing. The situation is getting even worse.
And because the international organizations that normally come into areas of conflict and monitor, they still are not allowed inside Myanmar. So you really don't have a third party who can sort of manage, right?
True. That's true. So since before, when the military, Myanmar military controlled this region, they didn't allow any international third parties groups, whether independent organizations or mechanisms from UN, United Nations or other ASEAN countries. They never allowed third parties like to go into this area to see the situation and document these things. But even now, under the control of the non-state actor, ethnic groups, Arakan Army, they also don't allow any people, any party to go in there. So as Fortify writes, we documented a lot of such abuses. For example, we published a report on forced labor of Rohingya by the Arakan Army, and we also documented a massacre that they carried out in Mount Township. But while they were trying to flee to Bangladesh, they just attacked them with artillery.
When was this?
It was in August 5th, 2024. So over 100 died in that scene. So there were a lot of videos and pictures on the internet already about that case. And we also, I went to Bangladesh, Cox's Bazar camps, where majority of the Rohingya resides now. There were new arrivals who fled from inside Rakhine. We talked to them and we found out that many in hundreds of Rohingya, for example, the Arakan Army, they detained and they torture them in detention. They won't provide them food. They torture them every day, and then they made them walk in these camps, and they don't even allow their family members to talk to them, and even like they don't let the family members know where they have kept their family members. So we also published a report on that. So what we try to do is like we publish these things and we engage with the embassies, foreign embassies, and also with the UN, submitting the evidences of what's actually happening till today in the region. So that way we are trying to let the world know, to raise awareness, to still keep focus on what's happening in the region with the Rohingya. So the abuses, violations that the Rohingya have been facing since before is still continuing.
Well, this is the thing. You mentioned the UN. And the UN has its own problems today. One of them, of course, is funding. Right. Because the Americans have cut their funding, and there are so many more conflicts happening now. Gaza got really worse. Ukraine is steadily absorbing a lot of the resources of the international community. And it seems like the international organizations have been putting less and less priority on the so-called smaller conflicts, like what we have in Myanmar or in southern Thailand, in Patani. What do young leaders or civil society leaders in Myanmar think about the role of the United Nations? Do you still feel that the UN can play a role to bring the junta to the table?
That's actually, I would say, like everywhere. I'm seeing a trend like across the world. People started losing the trust on UN. They started feeling like UN is so powerless. UN's kind of resolutions and other kind of policies that's not actually have been like impactful, because they don't have any own power that can actually implement these policies. They can only engage the governments. They can also pressure through other governments in some countries to make some changes. But because some of the countries in the world, like where all this happening, for example, Israeli and Palestine issue, and also Rohingya issue, if you are dealing with these countries, kind of like Israel and Myanmar, they don't listen to any any other parties, or they don't follow the international orders. So that makes it really difficult, like, to see a change in this kind of situation. So even the young people in Myanmar, we talk to young people in the Myanmar. We know, like, they don't feel UN is capable of anything at this current situation. According to the trend in the world.
What's the alternative, Ejaz? Who do you think can play that role? You consider China, for instance? China is big in the neighborhood,
yes,
right?
For Myanmar, I would definitely say China can play a role.
It can.
Because it has a big influence on the military dictators. So China definitely can play a role. They can make some changes if they really want to end the suffering of the people in Myanmar. But on the other side, we are not seeing that happening because China mostly is interested in their own economic benefits, because there are a lot of, like, resources that they are actually benefiting from inside Myanmar. So they decided to side with the military dictatorship instead of the people of the Myanmar. So yeah, we are not very optimistic about that. They will make some changes in the country. But I think the people of the Myanmar can make a change, like the young people of the country, because as you can see, after the protest, during the protest, the military started shooting the young protesters indiscriminately, and then they also later targeted the young people in the country and detained them because they protested in anti-military protest. Then hundreds of thousands of young people from Myanmar started fleeing, and the other group started to hold up arms. As you can see, we have, like, more than 80 ethnic armed groups in the country. That's actually they formed after the coup in the Myanmar. So they are fighting against the junta with whatever resources they have. But on the other hand, the military junta is so powerful. They have a lot of weapons. Still, they are able to purchase jet fuels or other weapons from China and Russia. So it's a very hard battle, because for the people of the Myanmar, the armed groups, they don't have enough resources to fight this kind of big military institutions, but yet they are still fighting. So by now, I would say, like, over 40% of the country, around 40 or over 40% of the territories in the country are under the control of the ethnic armed groups.
Yeah. Let me ask you about the ethnic armed groups. So you say there are now maybe 80 ethnic armed groups, and I get the impression, Ejaz, that most of the soldiers are young.
Yes, that's true.
So if you have majority of the soldiers as young people, what hope is there for a peaceful solution when young people seem to have given up hope that you can ever negotiate peace and would rather fight their way?
There is hope, because the young people, after the coup, we have seen, especially regarding to the Rohingya, we have seen a change in perception among the public after the coup. Because before the coup, everybody thought, everybody actually were believing all the propagandas, brainwashing that the military has been doing, like, against the Rohingya for decades. For example, like, they saw Rohingya as non-citizens. They saw Rohingya as kind of like not, for example, like this indigenous people. They consider Rohingya as non-indigenous, and also they were indifferent or ignored, denied the abuses and kind of the genocide that committed by the Myanmar military. But after the coup, there is a change in perception, and we have seen that these people expressing on social medias, in forums, in kind of gatherings, solidarity with the Rohingya. So the young people have a change in perception, which means if they control, if they ever win this military junta, we could see some changes in the country, and also regarding the Rohingyas situation, there could be some improvements that we hope actually.
But you are fragmented because young people belong to so many different, as you say, armed, indigenous armed groups, which makes me wonder, how do you bring them back together again? How do you unite them? Do the religious play an important factor? Are the religious leaders, Muslim religious leaders among the Rohingya, Buddhist leaders, and the rest of Myanmar, are there powerful voices that call for peace, that call for communities to unite, or are they silent? Because I remember many years ago, I was in Rangoon, and we were brought to the temple of a popular Buddhist leader who was named by Time magazine as the Buddhist Hitler.
Yes, I know that. We are too.
Yes. And I actually came face to face with him. There were 5 of us, and we had a meeting with him. And he was, I'm sorry to say this, just very scary. So are there still voices like Wiratu rallying hatred? Or are there now more voices from the Buddhist religious and the Muslim religious calling for peace and coming together?
This is a part actually where Myanmar is very weak. Kind of like religious tolerance is very weak. I mean, in Myanmar, because the country is like majority population is Buddhist, and the country is officially announced as about this country because majority of the Buddhists exist, and also because the military has been in the leadership, they have continuously incited hate. Also, people like monks, like Wiratu, they were actually supported by the military. They are still there. There are still like monks and other religious people who incite hate in the country. And Myanmar is also weak in terms of like engaging different religions in dialogue. We haven't seen like many initiatives in the country, which also is one factor where, this kind of tolerance doesn't exist in the country. Maybe, as I said, like I'm saying, like if there is like this young people, the next generation, if they can win over the military, then there is a chance they would create this kind of platforms and ways where we can exchange our beliefs and our faith, and then like we build a trust. But at the current situation, it seems so difficult.
Yeah,
it seems so difficult because the hatred and all this kind of stuff is still fueled in the country by the these monks and the military dictatorship.
And unfortunately, the international community that supports human rights, that supports peace, now unable to enter Myanmar, not just because the junta don't want them, but also because internationally so much more is happening that they're forgetting us in Southeast Asia because they call us the smaller conflicts. So we are left to our own to find a solution. ASEAN is trying, right? They've assigned ambassadors to be envoys to talk to the junta, but these are all behind the scenes. What do you think ASEAN leaders should do so that they can make the junta come to the table and talk peace?
For ASEAN, I think the Myanmar government is, for me, like I see the Myanmar government as a deaf one. They don't listen to anyone. Okay, on the table they come, they listen to everyone. They pretend like they
pretend.
Yeah, they listen to everyone. Maybe
Okay.
they will make a few vague promises, but when they go back to their country, they do
Forget.
nothing. They do nothing. So maybe this is a strategic way they do, because they still want to be in the ASEAN. And they, for example, like the 5-point consensus, they agreed to, but you
Nothing.
can see many years they haven't implemented even once. So that gives us an idea of how they function, how they behave. So I think this will still be the situation, even if we kind of bring them on the table and make them some promises, but they won't implement this kind of policies, because this divide and rule things and religious hatred, all of this stuff benefits them to rule the country. And also I believe it's not just because of the politics. They have this hatred towards other religion in their mind, the militaries especially. So that is also the reason why they haven't been changing any of these practices and policies. If you see, like, the area Rohingya used to live, they forcefully conscripted Rohingya during the battle with the Arkan army.
Yes.
Like a lot of thousands of Rohingya. And then they used them in the battlefront, and many of the Rohingya were killed because the military used them in the battlefield. But did they give any kind of benefit to the Rohingya? No. They haven't given. Even, like, still they call Rohingya as Bengali, like in official statements, in official press conferences. They couldn't even change the name, the stance on the calling of the name of Rohingya. So that's why I believe it's, like, deeply rooted in their hearts, like religious hatred and racism.
It really, sometimes when I look at what's going on in Myanmar, I really feel the desperation of ordinary people, because instead of finding a solution, the conflict is fragmenting. And the more armed groups there are, the more difficult it is to really bring the nation together, because even if you have an agreement, the opposition is so divided. It's going to take you, a generation to bring people together again. So in the meantime, your organization, human rights, specialized in fortifying rights, what can your organization do just to get young people, ordinary citizens who want an end to the fighting? What is your organization doing to keep them together and to keep them encouraged?
In terms of, because we are a human rights organization, our work mostly revolves around, like, exposing this kind of abuses and violations happening across the country, whether it's the military junta or other armed groups that has been committing these crimes against the people. The other thing we do is, like, we engage with influential people, powerful people, embassies, to update them what's happening in the country, what kind of solutions can be brought to this situation. We make suggestions. We make also we present our reports.
Give me one solution that you think could help to help in the situation. Among the many recommendations you bring to embassies, what would be one practical solution that you think can really help you?
That is, I believe in the accountability. If somehow we can hold accountable the Myanmar military and other armed groups that has been committing these violations, I think that would change a lot of things for the people, because then people will start believing in justice. They would feel justice has been delivered. Then I think there's a very easy way to build peace on that platform from there.
Accountability. And when you talk about believing in accountability, you are now focused, of course, on the ordinary Myanmar citizen, whether he is from the Rakhine or elsewhere, that they must know what's going on. Are you making significant steps in reaching the ordinary Myanmar citizen?
Reaching out to Myanmar citizens,
Yeah.
right? We engage with different ethnics in the country. We also kind of like present them what we are trying to do, and also suggest how the country could be moved forward under the young generation of the country. And for now still seems a bit in a difficult situation because many parts of the country are still under the dictatorship.
But there are more people who are now joining.
I would say there are more people who are joining and believing in a tolerant environment, and also on religious tolerance. So I think if Myanmar can accept religious tolerance, definitely there's going to be peace. Many of these issues people see as political one, but for me, I see, not for me actually, majority of the people also see this as a religious based situation. All this problem actually the Myanmar military was able to create, especially about the Rohingya, was based on the religion.
Yes.
Because they belong to a different religion.
Perhaps, Ejaz, this is something that the organizers of the 7th International Forum on Religion and Law can maybe do something about, and perhaps you can talk to our organizers and find out if there can be a special forum on religion and law that focuses on these kinds of conflicts.
Right.
So thank you so much, Ejaz, for joining us. But before we end, perhaps you would like to give a message to our listeners on how they can support you in your organization to fortifying human rights.
Yes, I would say especially to the government first, the Philippine government first, because I heard like Philippines is going to be the next chair
of ASEAN.
Yes. I think this pushing must continue, pressuring must continue to the military junta, so that they can create a platform where like religious tolerance is accepted, and also changing the discriminatory policies and practices. And for Fortify rights, for us, like we would just ask the people and the listeners to give attention to the abuses and violations that is happening in Myanmar, and to stand with solidarity with the people who are in a very oppressed situation, and to stand in solidarity with the most vulnerable people in Myanmar, especially Rohingya, and also in other parts of the country.
Thank you so much, and our prayers go with you and your organization, and to all of the long-suffering people in Myanmar who are caught in this terrible conflict with the junta.
I hope.